amenity that will help you book because you're getting more than what you would have gotten ordinarily because they're trying to fill that ship. So free airfare and the price for those adventures are great. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I get back, we're going to talk about travel trends. This is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster. I'll see you in a minute. Peaks Cruises and Tours is looking for group leaders for the 2019-2020 travel season. If you are a leader in an organization or family group, have a sphere of influence, and are an influencer among your peers, then this could be a fun way to travel to your bucket list destinations or cruise. Contact us at yourbucketlistbuster@gmail.com today. Welcome back to your Bucket List Buster. Karen Duncan here, your host, and we are talking travel trends. Yeah, what's going on in travel trends this week? We got some pretty exciting. Well, the first one is Hawaii is finally entering the cannabis tourism craze. So now you can go to Hawaii and participate in the island's medical cannabis program. The Hawaii State Department of Health has announced that out of the state medical cannabis patients, you may now apply online for a 329 V like Victor card. The new card provides visiting patients with legal access to Hawaii's medical cannabis dispensaries for up to 60 days. I'm going to do a whole show on cannabis tourism because it is hot and it's happening all over. In this particular case, Hawaii is saying only if you have a prescription pretty much and you can prove through this application process for this 329V card can you visit their dispensaries. So, if you are suffering from chronic pain or some type of disease or PTSD, and you can't travel with cannabis for the most part, you can with CBD oil. But if you can't travel with your supply and you need to get some while you're in Hawaii, you are now able to do so. But you need to apply for this prior to going to Hawaii. You can't do it while you're there. The next is 10 cheap spring break destinations. So yes, it is about to be spring break. I moved to Panama from Texas, and next week is spring break starting in Texas, and then it goes through the middle of April. So people have already pretty much decided what they're going to do for spring break. To get your best deals for spring break, you may want to plan for next spring break this year. So best time to book spring break trips is the year before. Flights are usually more expensive the closer to the dates during this time. If you have to fly, book your flight to depart on a Tuesday. Friday is the worst day to fly. Internationally, if you're going to fly internationally, fly on a Wednesday, and then the second best day is a Tuesday. So let's look at some of the destinations that are hot trends for 2019. And usually some of these have been hot trends for forever. Lots of things going on. But Las Vegas comes in number one with pool parties, DJs. So it depends on where you are in your life cycle, is what I say. And if this is something that you want to do, because lots of younger people are going to some of these destinations for spring break, because that's what it is. It's about being out of school, being out of college, being out of, family vacations during spring break. But Vegas is number one because of the parties and the DJs. Next on the list, number two, is Miami, Florida. Lots of music. Music Week is from March 25th through the 30th, and then the Ultra Music Festival is from March 29th to the 31st. Of course, the beaches are always great in Miami. Airfare for this city decreases during this time by about 40%. And just in case you didn't know, free tacos at the Wood Tavern on the beach. So you make sure that you tip your folks when you go to that tacos. I know my daughter has been there and she absolutely loves it. Next on the list, number 3, Cancun, Mexico. Hopper anticipated that flight prices to this city are dropping by 25% around spring break. So this is the world's most touristy city. And why? Because of the annual influx of thousands of college students. So once again, the college students. Just a little side note, Cancun tried to somewhat move away from this market at one particular time because when college kids go, the hotels get a little more used, I guess. The wear and tear on the hotels are a little higher. So there are hotels within the Cancun market that will not allow you to be under a certain age to book those hotels. And if you're not of the college age and you still want to go to Cancun, go a little further out, like Playa del Carmen, Playa Riviera Maya, the Yucatan, somewhere like that. It's a little quieter. Most college age students go to Cancun because you can get off a flight, be in the hotel zone immediately. You don't have to do any transfers out to the outlying areas. So it's still a good place if you're not a college student. Number 4, Orlando, Florida. Flight prices are expected to drop an average to 186 round trip, maybe 30%. March kicks off Fat Tuesday Block Party. You may like Orlando Caribbean Festival on March 16th. Tickets are only $50, and it's a lot of fun. Plus, you have celebration at Orlando's Universal Studios from February through April 4th. Number 5 is New Orleans, spring break in New Orleans. I can't even imagine. That's like right after Mardi Gras, which that poor city never gets a chance to sleep. Those people never get a break of cleaning the streets and stuff. I guess that's what New Orleans is all about. But New Orleans is a perfect time to see the city at a different pace. You've got New Orleans Bourbon Festival, returns on March the 20th through the 23rd. Tickets are $59. And then you have the Tennessee Williams Literary Festival, which is March 27th to the 31st. Free music all the time in New Orleans. And it is known as the capital of the American cocktail. Number 6 is Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is cheaper than flying into Miami, so you can get some really good airfare into Fort Lauderdale. And if you're going into Miami, you can take an Uber or a Lyft or something like that, or they have transfers from the airport that can get you over to Miami. But if you're staying in Fort Lauderdale, which may be a little quieter, you've got the Tahiti Soca Feet Spring Break Party, April 12th through the 14th. And then the Tortuga Music Festival in Fort Lauderdale is an eco-conscious beach party. That sounds like a lot of fun. I actually want to probably do one of those. I don't think I'm going to do it this year because I got a big bucket list trip coming up. I'll have to tell you about it. But I'm going to take another quick break, and when I come back, we'll continue talking about some of the cheaper options for spring break in 2019. This is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster, and I'll be back in a minute. You're listening to Your Bucket List Buster with Karen Duncan. Welcome back to Your Bucket List Buster. Karen Duncan here, your host. We're talking about some of the cheaper options for spring break, and we've gone through Fort Lauderdale, New Orleans, Orlando, Cancun, Miami, and Las Vegas. Next on the list is Tokyo, Japan, and this is on my bucket list, guys, and I'm about to go there. I am. I'll tell you at a little different time, maybe next week. I'll discuss it in at the beginning of the show, but Tokyo, Japan. So Hopper expects flight prices to Tokyo to dip a respectable 17%, is what they said, for the coming weeks. Fourth most watched international spring break destination, cherry blossoms. I'm so interested in that. We're big gardeners. We love beautiful flowers, so cherry blossoms is great. I don't know if we're going to get there in time for the cherry blossoms, but then the next is the azaleas, and after that, the wisteria. So either way, you've got beautiful, beautiful flowers to look at. And if you're a gardener, not to mention all the other things that Japan has to offer, but this would be a great time for you to go. The weather's cooler than I would like it to be, but it's a nice time if you like to go someplace just a little bit cooler in the spring. Number 8, Los Angeles. The Festival of Colors is the Hindu Spring Festival, and it's going to be March the 9th, and then March 22nd and 23rd, you've got Beyond Wonderland Entrance Festival at the NOS Event Center. Flights should be down maybe 23% during this time. Number 9 on the list is Honolulu, Hawaii. Walking on the beach. Nothing like walking on the beach in Hawaii. There's not a whole lot to say. Not a lot of festivals or things going on in Hawaii, but just beautiful Hawaii in itself. You can't get enough Hawaii as far as I'm concerned. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. Number 10, New York. Flights may be dropping, maybe 21%. You've got the Brooklyn Folk Festival in this city. They've got their own Cherry Blossom Festival and the Tribeca Film Festival at the end of April for folks that love art. And then it goes into early May. So those are your 10 cheap spring break destinations. I hope that if you haven't made a plan, maybe this week you can find some cheap air. And I'll give you a little secret of mine. I go to onetravel.com, onetravel.com. If you want an international flight, give us a call over at Peaks Cruises and Tours, because we actually work with some consolidators that give us some really discounted air for international flights. So you may want to give us a call at 512-529-3696, or send us an email, Karen@peaksvacations.net. That's PEEKS, or you can even send it to yourbucketlistbuster@gmail. Either way, I'll find it, or you'll find us on social media. Next, for trends, river cruising going younger. Looks like millennials are choosing to river cruise at a higher rate than any other generation, which is so different than when river cruising became the craze. A short story, my husband won a river cruise on Viking. It had to be 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, at least 7, at a travel agent event that we went to, and I could not convince him to go, because he said in the video, everybody looked like they were 80 or 90 years old, and we're a lot closer to that age now. And no offense to my senior travelers out there, I'm all about it. But he wasn't quite there mentally, and everybody in the video looked like they were seniors, and he didn't want to go. And so we didn't go. I have since been on a river cruise, and I absolutely adore it. And some of the things that are coming up, I'm going to talk about a little bit later, are things that river cruising companies are doing to infuse more activities, more active travel, gearing more toward not just millennials that want to travel, but active seniors. Just because we're getting older doesn't mean we're not moving around. So this is good. And also river cruising offers off the more beaten path experiences, taking you into deeper locations than ever before, which is really amazing. So I'm just going to give you some highlights about river cruising and some different companies and ships and what they're kind of doing. So the best river cruise for disconnecting, that means totally letting go of the cell phone and all of that, is the Mekong Smile Cruise on the Mekong River in China. It's